We got a question from Diane up next. She says, I'm hoping to save enough money to fully fund my Roth and catch up a grandchild's 529 plan. This will lessen my emergency fund to 1 month. I can replace that in about 4 months. Is that a poor idea? Oh, Brian's already.
No, Diane. Can you send us? If you will just send us the schedule on which your emergencies take place, that would be if you could just let us know when the next emergency for you is going to happen, we could tell you whether this was a prudent decision or a non-prudent decision to go about doing this.
Patience is a virtue.
Mm-hmm.
The reason, it sounds like Diane can do everything she wants, but she's rushing it and forcing. I don't know if she's trying to get this thing done by Christmas so she can put it under the tree and the grandchild go, whoa, 529, hot dog.
I think kids, only you would have that reaction.
Kids don't get that excited about it, but it is one of those things. Because obviously it's back to. There's a reason this thing ought to be the foundation of how you're making financial decisions. If you, check it out. It is the financial order of operations, moneyguy.com/resources. Download your free copy. You're hitting on all the things. Roth IRA, we love those. We love prepaid future expenses or abundance goals like helping out kids, grandkids with 529s. But you notice there's a number that's lower than 5 and 8, and that's 4 emergency reserves. That needs to be 3 to 6 months. In a lot of cases, Diane, you got grandkids. You're probably definitely going to be at the 6-month mark because as you're approaching retirement, actually, you're going to notice retirement reserves should be getting longer. Because your portfolio is probably getting more conservative. You want to have more access to liquidity because you're going to be living off of these assets in the not too distant future. So it scares me when you tell me you're down to 1 month because guess what? When you only have 1 month of emergency reserves, if you got caught, if that ticking time bomb or ticking timer goes off that you never get to see the display when you're least expecting it, you're going to have to make some desperate decisions because you're going to get caught naked. You're not going to have money and you're going to have to either go into debt, you're going to have to ask loved ones, you're going to have to make some desperate decisions. And that just doesn't seem like a prudent decision when you have enough coming in that you can do these things, but you just need to spread the timeline out a little longer. If you're trying to get this under the Christmas tree, just put an IOU that, hey, hopefully by end of next year,
that's as good as
put a picture of the 529. So still Junior just go, I get a 529 and just get it funded in July instead of, and it'll be like most things. Junior will pay probably more fun with the wrapping paper in the box than the 529 certificate. But it's still one of those things where I think you can do what you want, Dan, but please respect the foo.
Can I just say one other thing that I think is worth noting here? If you hold up your food, Brian, you hold up your copy. She said, I've almost got enough to max out my Roth IRA. That's step 5. Well, there's a wide chasm between step 5 and step 8.
Yeah, it's true.
And so, I know as parents it's hard, and I'm not a grandparent.
This is grandchild, yeah.
I'm not a grandparent yet, but I imagine it's even harder for grandparents that we want to do everything in the world for them. We want to give them the whole world, so much so that sometimes we're willing to make decisions that are beneficial for them and are detrimental to us. And I would argue, it's no different than when you're in an airplane. They tell you put on your oxygen mask first, and then you can help the folks around you. If you are still building towards financial independence at this stage of life, and you are still maxing out your Roth IRA, I would argue that your dollars are probably going to be better bolstering your financial situation than providing for your grandkid. Because when you get to retirement, when you are at that point, there's not going to be any option for you for retirement outside of what you saved, a pension if you have it, and maybe Social Security, depending on what your living expenses are. There's no loans, there's no grants, there's no scholarships. When your grandchild gets there, when they get to college age, there are going to be options for them to pay for that. So I do think if you are at step 5 and you're not yet saving that 25%, or you're not at the financial independence point yet, I would argue jumping right to step 8 and save for the grandkids might not be what you ought to be doing.
Not unless you're going to be living in the dorm with them.
Oh.
Grandma,
It's the reality of you don't have the money. That when you do that oxygen example, it's because you're like, hey, I hear you're having a kegger over here. You keep it down. I'm going to sleep tonight.
I'm just gonna think, like when you like, I was never in a fraternity, but like fraternity have like the pledges, like they have.
We had no grandparents living in the fraternity
Grandma
house.
was never running out to the convenience store or picking up rides or anything.
Grandma was not in the fraternity house, so it's not something that I don't think they have. Bring your grandparents to college to live with you. So you better make sure you fund your own retirement.
Retirement
I love it.
saves college experiences every day.